In the winter of 1938, Europe was changing. The streets of Prague were no longer filled with ordinary conversation. They were filled with whispers, whispers about war, about Germany, about a man named Hitler. Jewish families across Czechoslovakia felt something terrible approaching. They didn't know the exact date, they didn't know the exact form, but they knew danger was coming. And in London, a 29-year-old stockbroker named Nicholas Winton was preparing for a ski vacation. He was ordinary. He worked in finance. He read newspapers. He worried about markets. He had no political power, no military training, no grand ambitions to change the world. But sometimes history does not wait for powerful men. Sometimes it chooses someone ordinary. In December 1938, Nicholas received a phone call from a friend in Prague. "Cancel your ski trip," the friend said. "You need to come here, you need to see this." Nicholas canceled his holiday. He packed a suitcase and boarded a train to Prague. When he arrived, he saw something he could never forget. Refugee camps crowded with Jewish families, children clinging to their parents. Mothers with eyes swollen from crying, fathers trying to appear strong. Germany had already taken Austria. Czechoslovakia was next. Everyone knew it. The world watched. Governments debated. But time was running out. Nicholas walked through one of the refugee camps, mud under his shoes, cold wind in the air, children staring at him with silent questions. A mother approached him. She held her young son's hand tightly. "Can you take him?" she asked. It was not a request for comfort. It was a request for survival. Nicholas could have said no. He was not a government official. He had no authority, no funding, no organization behind him, but something inside him refused to walk away. He said 3 simple words: "I will try." That moment changed everything. Nicholas rented a small hotel room in Prague. Inside that room, he placed a typewriter on a desk and began building a rescue mission from nothing. He created lists of children. He collected photographs. He filled out forms. He contacted the British government. There was a small opportunity. Britain allowed refugee children under a program, but only if families agreed to take them in and if a financial guarantee was provided for each child. £50 per child. In 1939, that was a fortune. Nicholas returned briefly to London. He worked day and night, writing letters to families, asking strangers to open their homes, raising money, convincing officials. Many people said no, some were afraid, some didn't care, but some said yes. Slowly, enough families agreed, enough money was raised, enough paperwork was approved. The first train was scheduled. March 14, 1939. The train station in Prague was filled with quiet heartbreak. Children wore numbered tags around their necks. Each number matched Nicholas's carefully prepared documents. Parents knelt down to speak softly to their sons and daughters. "Be brave," they said. "Write to us." They promised they would see each other soon. But deep down, they knew they might never meet again. The train began to move. Steam filled the air. Mothers ran alongside the windows, waving, crying, memorizing their child's face. Nicholas stood on the platform, watching. The train reached Britain safely. The children were placed into foster homes. It worked. So he did it again and again. 1 train became 2. 2 became 3. By the end of the summer of 1939, 8 trains had left Prague. 669 children were carried to safety. 669 lives pulled away from destruction. But history was moving fast. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. World War II began. On that very same day, a 9th train was scheduled to leave Prague. 250 children were ready, suitcases packed, tags attached, parents waiting, but the borders closed. The train never departed. Those children were taken by the Nazis. Most were never seen again. Nicholas never forgot that train. He saved 669. But he carried the weight of the 250 he could not save for the rest of his life. After the war ended, Nicholas returned to London. He did not hold press conferences. He did not write a book. He did not tell newspapers. He placed the documents into a scrapbook and stored it in his attic. He married. He lived quietly. For nearly 50 years, no one knew what he had done. The children grew up. They became doctors, teachers, engineers, parents. They built families. They built futures. But the world did not know the name Nicholas Winton until 1988. His wife discovered the old scrapbook in their attic. Inside were lists of names. Photographs, train schedules, letters from desperate parents, proof of everything. She contacted historians. Eventually, the BBC. Nicholas was invited to sit in the audience of a television program. He believed it was just another historical discussion. He sat quietly in his seat. An elderly man with gentle eyes. The host began speaking about a man who had rescued hundreds of children before the war. Nicholas listened politely. Then the host turned to the audience and asked, "Is there anyone here tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?" The woman sitting beside him slowly stood up. Nicholas looked confused. Then another person stood, and another, and another. Within seconds, the entire audience was standing. They were the children, now adults, alive because of him. Nicholas looked around in disbelief. His hands trembled. He covered his face. Tears filled his eyes. For nearly 50 years, he had never spoken about it. He never asked for recognition. He simply did what he believed was right. And now the lives he saved were standing all around him, clapping, smiling, crying, proof that one decision can echo across generations. Nicholas Winton was later honored and knighted by Queen Elizabeth II, but titles did not change him. He remained humble. He once said, "If something is not impossible, then there must be a way to do it." 669 children survived because he refused to look away. Those children had children. And grandchildren. Today, thousands of people exist because one young man canceled a ski vacation. History often celebrates generals, presidents, men who command armies. But sometimes the greatest courage happens quietly, in a small hotel room, with a typewriter, with determination. Nicholas Winton did not wait for permission. He did not wait for applause. He saw children in danger, and he acted. And because he acted, generations were saved. Imagine that train station again, the steam in the air, the trembling hands, the silent prayers. Now imagine if he had chosen differently, if he had gone skiing instead. Those 669 children might have disappeared into history, but they didn't. Because one ordinary man decided that someone had to try. And sometimes trying is enough to change the world. That is the story of Nicholas Winton, not a soldier, not a king, not a politician. Just a man who refused to walk away, and in doing so saved generations.